So, now here we are, a few weeks later. I'm sure you've had some time to think about what you guys discussed in the car. I'm sure you've had some time to think about it. Before I ask you any questions, have you guys had a second date? Would you guys be open to another date? Knowing what you know now.
Let me talk to you. Yeah. Shut up, I'm talking.
What up, YouTube? Welcome back to Street Mechanic with another video. And in this video, it's like a part 2 to the Cheesecake Factory video. So we have Jay and Alicia, the two people that were in the said video. And they're gonna have an interview with the YouTuber, and he's gonna talk to him about that viral video that they had. Now, if you didn't see the actual video, you could take a look at this thumbnail and find it in my list of videos, and make sure you watch that first before you go any further into this video. So, without any further delay, let's just jump right into it.
Rise and shine, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Truth Factory. This episode is going to be a little bit different. Typically, we talk about devastating issues inside of relationships and try to talk about the nuanced things in that relationship to heal it. This time, we're going to talk about dating. So I don't know if you guys have saw the viral video, but there's a viral video where a woman is taken to the Cheesecake Factory and she does not want to go inside of there. She does not want to be embarrassed. This conversation ended up going viral, and here we are. Alicia, it is a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, thank you.
Jay, pleasure to meet you. Welcome to the show, and thank you guys for being willing to come here and have this dialogue. I'm sure you guys have gotten a lot of flack, maybe even some backlash and things of that nature from this video going viral.
Well,
Before we get into it, we're going to take a moment and just relook at that video. It's been a couple of weeks, so now here we are, a few weeks later. I'm sure you've had some time to think about what you guys discussed in the car. I'm sure you've had some time to think about it. Before I ask you any questions, have you guys had a second date?
no.
No second dates.
Not yet.
Wow. Did you see the look on her face? That confident, maybe arrogant look when he asked her about the second date and she said not yet? Like she knows she's going on a second date? Yeah. It's gonna be one of these videos. I'm gonna have to chime in every now and then because she's gonna say something crazy. But okay, let's go.
Okay. So I'll start with you, Jay. What has dating been like for you since that video went viral?
Since I was on the video, kind of unexpected, I might not have put my best foot forward, and so I feel like, I've not really met anyone since who I've really gotten to get to know like that, because a lot of women, they might have seen the video or might have heard from it, or maybe a friend of theirs has seen the video and shares it with them. And so they kind of had this image of me based on the video.
Absolutely.
And it hasn't really helped.
Okay.
Exactly. It's like they might think everything about me is reflected in that video, and I don't think it is. And but yeah, it's been difficult.
Sure.
Well, and it's even before this, dating has already been difficult for me.
I imagine your views kind of clash with what you're looking for and what they're looking for.
Yeah, I think so. Because, I think in general, my values kind of reflect wanting to build something that lasts.
Yes, sir.
And I want to make sure that anyone that I meet is willing to build a really strong foundation based on our mutual values. And I think it in general, a lot of the people that I meet, either they don't have time to set towards building something like that, or they just don't want to because, they're younger, they want to experience, casual dating or whatever it is. And it's just not something that I'm looking for right now.
Understood. So Obviously, guys, Jay's saying that they have a negative, they're viewing him in a negative light when it comes to dating. When I saw Jay, I saw someone who was making some excellent points, who knew what he wanted, and he's actually now like a Giga Chad in the manosphere world, in the red pill community. The brother's being mentioned everywhere for the way he handled that conversation.
Yes, we were happy that this dude handled the situation in the manner that he did. He stood up for himself, let her know that he had standards, guidelines, and she didn't follow them. She didn't meet the criteria. So great, he did what he had to do. Excellent. Some people might have handled it a little differently, but overall, he handled it correctly. But here in this video, he looks a little unconfident. He's not sitting properly. He's uncomfortable. He's having a hard time articulating himself. Now I understand, it might be hard for him to do that. It's some new thing for him, and I get it, But he gotta at least try to look like he knows what he's saying and, at least sit and look the part, even if you can't get the words out like you want to. But furthermore, you can't concern yourself with the people that's out there in the, in the internet. They're looking at you in a bad light because you have these standards. And as a man, you're not supposed to have any, but thank goodness you do. And you don't have to settle. If one person saw you or you saw them and you got a conversation out of them, you can find somebody else, bro. Don't let this stop you. Don't let this deter you. Understand, the people that are hating on you now, they probably can't even meet your standards or requirements. So don't worry about them. Okay? Let's go.
Now I'm going to ask Alicia as well, because during this conversation, Alicia.
Thank you.
And look at this. This man is still being a gentleman. And you ladies have a problem with this? Pause.
That right? Okay, so Alicia, you didn't seem to really disagree with what he was saying. Now you had a definitely a different opinion before he gave you his mind, right? But you seemed very receptive to it. Can you explain to me kind of what you were thinking and how you saw him in that video? Because he's saying they took him in a negative light. What do you think?
Well, yes, I think once we had the conversation, I could see my role in the conflict.
Okay, okay.
Let's back up a little bit. To be fair, I mean, I was always raised that the man is supposed to cater to you. I mean, you're courting me, so court me. That means wherever I want to go, you take me.
Absolutely.
Whatever I want, you buy me. That's courting.
Pause. Hold up. That is not what courting is. Courting is dating somebody romantically, basically, with the intent of marriage. Courting is not you take me where I want to go and you buy me what I want you to buy me. That is not courting. That's simping. There's a big difference between courting, dating, and simping. Okay? No, miss, you were taught wrong. Now you must be educated on what courting really is. And for the women like you that don't understand what courting really is, yes, that is exactly what it is. And if you don't believe me, look it up.
I'm looking for a provider. So, but after the conversation, I could see how there was a lot of
Okay.
in that exchange.
Absolutely.
I was definitely very self-centered, and I can appreciate if I do want someone to provide for me, I at least gotta be a little bit nice.
Absolutely. Okay. Okay, great. So now I ask you this, based on your idea of dating before your conversation with Jay, how did you grow up? Who also thinks that way? I'm sure you have friends who think that way. I've heard it a lot.
I mean, everybody. I mean, that's what he's supposed to be, the provider.
Absolutely.
So, and I'm a beautiful woman, so I'm expecting to be treated like royalty.
Okay, see, therein lies the problem. She's looking through her glasses with foggy lenses, because there's no way in hell that you can feel like you should be treated like a princess and y'all just started dating. There's just no way. You gotta understand that you and this guy don't know each other to that level. So you get treated as a lady And later on down the road, if y'all get together, yes, you should be treated like a princess if, that's what you rate. Okay, great. If he feels that's how you should be treated, great. But not beforehand. See, that's the whole big problem. Some of you women feel entitled to being treated like wives and princesses and queens and stuff, but y'all are being told not to act like this to men. So men show you who they are, y'all don't show us who you are, and everything's supposed to be good. No, that's not how this works.
I mean, come on. So that's
But
what I was
the kicker
doing.
is, how do we treat him? And that's where the disconnect was.
Right.
In the video, now of course I'm sure you think of it differently now, but in the video you basically told him that you're not going in there, you know your value. It would be embarrassing for you to go inside a Cheesecake Factory. A lot of people like Cheesecake Factory. Now, so when I see that video, I'm thinking, okay, she must have some friends who probably would disagree with her going inside a Cheesecake Factory. Your peer group. So
I would
peer
never-
pressure probably keeps
I
you
would
from.
never live that. Oh my God! I would have never lived that down.
Wow,
I
just
mean-
ate the Cheesecake Factory. They wouldn't let you live that down.
No, I have an image to protect.
Yeah, I knew this was coming. She cares about what her friends think. Then she should care about the person that she's with. You're being taken out on a date, okay? He's paying for everything, treating you like a princess pretty much, okay? He's taking care of everything from the door, going to the door, coming back, everything in between. And you have the nerve and the audacity to say that you can't go to the Cheesecake Factory, a place that he likes to go to, a place that is way above fast food chains like McDonald's, Burger King, White Castle, Wendy's, Arby's, etc. It's even above Applebee's, Fridays, and restaurants like that. Yes. And you have a problem with a man taking you somewhere that he's paying for fully. That is neither in those categories. Is in neither of those categories. Make it make sense. But yes, once again, women will always be able to influence other women's decisions and how they view things in life. This is a damn shame. She should have thought for herself within the moment and went with it. It's almost like her friends gave her a standard and she's following that standard. That's what it looked like. If you listen to it carefully, that's exactly what it looked like. They all have a standard and they're all gonna follow that same standard. So someone gave them this standard. Now they all have this standard. So she's in a group of people with the same type of standard. And I wonder how their lives are.
Wow.
Nikia does not do that. That was that was my circle though. That's how
Sure.
That's how we roll.
Sure.
I mean, to be quite blunt, that's how we roll. Hypergamy is a big thing in my circle. It's what we've been taught. Why? I mean, as a black woman, I'm gonna go there. I mean, as a black woman, we're really tired of having to settle. We want to be treated well.
Mm-hmm.
We want that soft life. So that's what I thought I was going after. However, what I understand is a part of having a soft life is being cooperative,
Being soft.
not being combative,
You're
right?
Actually being soft.
Right.
Right.
I hope y'all caught all that. Every last bit of what she said. And if you didn't, rewind it back, listen to it again, and rewind it back, listen to it again one more time until it's stuck in your head. This is what they're going for. Of course, hypergamy. And of course, settling. But settling, they don't even know what settling really is. Their version of settling is not even settling. But anyway, look, let me try to stay out of this. You listen to the rest of the video, and then I'll be back at the end. Hopefully. If she don't say something else that's crazy, but she probably will. But I'll try to restrain myself, but let's go.
Being receptive, being
Right.
sweet,
Absolutely.
being pleasant, right? Because we do understand the value of resources, but it can't be just something for a lifestyle. Resources, a man's resources is not just for a woman's experiences and traveling, and the lifestyle they'll live when married is for providing for the family and the children. And that's why she should seek a man and, you know, respect his resources or prioritize his resources, not just for what it can do for her.
Right.
Right. And so when you were in the beginning of it, you was just saying, I'm not doing it. It seemed really selfish. Right. And I appreciated that when I saw the video myself. That's one of the things I covered is, wow, I've never seen a woman that receptive to being accountable. Right. And you were. But Jay, however, didn't want to go out on a date. He wanted to discontinue that date, and he wanted to take it on to the house. Jay, is that your first time stopping a date midway through and going on back home, or?
Yeah, something like that's. I'm sorry, Alicia. That's the first time I've really like put my foot down to that kind of extent. But it's not like an isolated incident.
Okay.
You know, like I've gone on dates with several people now, even before her, where they had very specific things they were looking for in a boyfriend or whatever, and even within my own circles, right? And that's just not something that I'm looking for, because I was raised like we were talking about how she was raised, whereas with me, like my family, like we've passed down the name for ages, and we're a very close-knit, strong family.
You passed down your first name, Jay? Like
yes.
your father's and father.
Yeah,
How many generations, probably?
I mean, I couldn't really count it myself.
Wow.
Because I mean, the thing is, like, I'm from India.
Okay.
You know, and the partition happened where, like, India was separated from Pakistan. And a lot of my family were on both sides of that, and we had to come back together.
Wow.
And we had to, it was very important for us to stay strong after the fact. At the time, maybe we didn't care as much about creating this legacy, but ever since, it's like that's been one of the strongest parts of our family, is the importance in creating our legacy. And with that in mind, like, I've grown up with the idea that I want a strong family here now that I'm living in America. The only kind of relationships I seek are ones where that is the only value. That is the biggest value. That is the most important thing for the other person as well as for me.
Wow. That's actually powerful. So your family going through all that they did, it caused you guys to really idealize relationships, right? And
specifically relationships that last.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so here you are in America dating.
Yeah.
And mostly in our culture, where you stated earlier you were a black woman. Of course, we have been through some things, right? In our culture here in the States and throughout the whole diaspora, I like using that word. But a lot of times our culture has been stripped, and we haven't yet began to idealize relationships, you know, so we're more so going along with the flow. So here he is in America, and he's meeting a woman who is in America, and she sees dating the way Americans see dating. And so I can see the clash in that.
Yeah.
You know, he's looking at you as if that's selfish. You're looking at him as if, you know, he's treating you beneath your worth, your actual value. So here's what I want to do, guys. I want to go back a bit. Can y'all tell me how y'all met? I want you to tell me how you guys met.
So I was in Midtown, and like I barely even have time to go out with friends and all that, but it was a really close friend's birthday, so I went to get some drinks for the first time in ages, and I saw this beautiful woman who it seemed like every other guy in the bar was either intimidated by or too shy to talk to, and I thought, what the hell, why not? And she was, you know, minding her own business, and I asked her, you know, her name, Alicia, and I thought that's a beautiful name. And even despite how loud it was in the bar, we were still able to talk a little here and there, and I got her number, and she had to go. And so we kept talking after that for a little bit, and then like a week later, I asked her, "You want to go out to this restaurant?" Yeah. And I told her it would be a surprise. And maybe that might be a problem on my part. You know, it might have raised the expectations a little bit, but I guess the surprise ended up being Cheesecake Factory, where
Right.
the original surprise was,
I want to get to that. You had something else planned for her, right?
Yeah.
Because of how the evening went, the Cheesecake Factory happened, right?
yeah.
So
Can I just say before
Sure.
I love the Cheesecake Factory, and it's a place that I've gone to for like every birthday. So like it wasn't just like a random restaurant to me. It was also like a place that I've gone with my family throughout my entire life, and I love Cheesecake Factory.
so you didn't. So obviously the because you guys were late, she wasn't ready. You weren't able to take her to the restaurant that you wanted to take her to. You figured I can't go wrong with the Cheesecake Factory, right?
Yeah.
It's my old birthday restaurant, you know.
It's my lucky spot too at the perimeter.
Lucky spot. Okay, we'll come back to that one. No, I'm kidding with you.
Okay.
Alicia.
Yes.
So Jay, you see Jay walking up to you in the bar, say Midtown. He's walking up to you. He's gonna talk with you. There are other guys around you. Did you notice those guys probably want to talk to you? Did you see that? And
Yes, I did.
so what made you say, okay, I'm going to give this guy a chance? What was it about him?
Well, he was bold enough to come up and talk to me for
Confidence,
one.
okay.
So yes, I definitely am attracted to confidence. He just seemed like he had a pure heart. He was, very thoughtful, engaging. I mean, the only he won me over. He did win me over, but I'm a tall woman, and so there wasn't necessarily like that immediate attraction. But as we began to talk, it was really his heart that made me say, I'll give this guy a try.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that where you draw your line? Is that typically you don't date guys who are, guys have to be at least your height or taller before you would date them?
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, I understand that. That probably makes it difficult finding someone suitable for yourself. You are what, 6'1", 6?
I'm almost 6'1", yes.
Almost 6'1". Wow. So that means, let's see, 14.5% of men are at least 6 feet, right? But that next 2 inches for you to find someone taller than you, that's 3.6% of men in the entire world that are tall enough that are they're at least 6'2".
I know.
Is that discouraging?
I mean, I only need one. I only need to.
You need one, but he needs to be that height. He needs to make the resources, right?
Yeah.
He needs to be funny. He needs to be charismatic. He needs to be disciplined. And that doesn't discourage you? Like,
I'm an optimist, but no.
that I like it.
Yeah,
I like
but
it.
no. I mean,
An optimist.
the logically speaking, I understand what you're saying. I've heard this many times.
Logically speaking, stop it. Stop it. Logically speaking, my behind. Listen, you're almost 6'1", okay? Whatever height he is, he's definitely shorter than you. If I'm thinking about this correctly, wouldn't you be settling? Because he's not the height requirement that you would prefer? Because he has other things that you might prefer. But even then, I'm looking at 2 of them, they don't match up. They don't. He had a little bit of confidence when he talked to her, but he's sitting there now, he's looking half depleted, half defeated, and he's just like out of it. Like he's talking and everything, but his body language and his shows otherwise. Like she's sitting up there, she's sitting up straight, and she's being confident and a little bit arrogant, if you ask me. But all in all, they don't match. They just don't match. I just don't see that going any distance if they were together. I don't see it. I still think after all this, listening to it, it's just not gonna work. She would just still have not learned her lesson. And then I wonder what her friends think about him on the overall scale. I'm pretty sure they got a lot to say, but yeah, let's get back to this video. Jesus Christ, I'm sorry, y'all.
But I haven't given up on I hadn't given up on that. But I'm actually open. I really enjoyed our conversation, so I would consider.
Well, sure, and I was going to commend you for that. I didn't see it as a. I know you're saying that they have to be that height, but it seems that you are willing to, make an exception, just like you did for Jay here when he walked up and he had the confidence of a 6'2" man. You were willing to at least hear what he had to say, and that's a good thing. Because it may not be the cookie cutter thing that you plan out. So if we're going to look for a happy relationship, a harmonic one that gives our children and our lineage what they need for years and generations to come, right? We may have to make an exception or two, right?
Yeah. Sometimes it's not what we want, it's what we need. And we have to be more open to what we need.
That's absolutely true. I was going to say, when it comes to how we date, I think a lot of it is just the information that we have, right? So what I noticed from yours and Alicia's conversation, Jay, is that you had a different view of altogether of what dating should look like leading up to a relationship, and she had a different view. And now,
like, what I should say is, I mean, at the very end of the day, like, I understand dating in America is different from where my family's from, and in a way, like, it's perfectly fine to have those views and to think of dating differently. I just think, for me, I have a very specific criteria, and it's not a long list of criteria, but it's just certain values that I
sure. Well, I think a lot like you. That's why the video stood out to me. I believe relationships should be harmonic. They should be for a reason. So I believe in dating with intent, right? Yeah. But many people in our generation today, they see dating as something that's just fun. They don't see it as a way to establish a healthy relationship. And that's what I was going to say. There's almost little to no understanding as to what dating should look like when you're trying to establish an intent for a meaningful relationship. And I think that's the biggest problem. It's not so much that people are necessarily selfish or entitled. It's more so that they don't know what they're looking for, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Oftentimes we think we know, but we really don't.
Right. Yeah. Right. So when he asked you the question, you expect men to go all out on a date. He should be willing to pay for the meal, show up on time, open doors for her, the whole nine. But when he asked you, what is a woman expected to do? You said, look good, be there. And that's where the, right?
Disconnect was. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because there should be things that a woman should do, right? So if you've thought about that, could you tell me some of what you think now, if he would have asked you that question today?
Sure. If you think about, watching the video, it's like, how do you expect this person to keep giving, and you're not giving anything back? So now we're depleted.
Absolutely.
And so who's going to pour into him?
Wow.
So, I mean, if you truly do want that type of protection provider, there has to be some balance.
Absolutely.
So.
Wow, that's very powerful. I actually took the liberty to make a list of things that men and women should look for in each other on a date, right? I'm going to read them to you. I want you guys to tell me what you think of in the end, okay? Let's start with what you're looking for in a man, okay? So what a woman looks for in a man is respect and courtesy. Would you say I'm wrong? Confidence, right? Yeah. Communication skills.
Absolutely.
Knowing what he wants, where he's going with it, right?
Yes.
Initiative, taking the initiative. Chivalry.
Yes.
Okay. Resilience.
Yes.
Right. So even when you being a little bit, hard to get, he can push past that, right? The resilience. Generosity.
Yes.
Okay. So here are the behaviors that look good to a man when he's looking for a woman. I'm going to ask you the same questions. You tell me if you like the sound of that. Men are looking for kindness. Right. You want her to be really kind, really sweet, right? Pleasant. So what about active listening?
Yeah.
And you said when she got in the car, she was putting the makeup on and she wasn't really responding to you or responsive to you.
Yeah.
And you took from that she didn't like you much.
Yeah.
Right. Encouragement. And,
yes,
and you said that, being able to pour back into him, right? Positivity, right? So not being negative, having a smile on your face, right? Respect for independence.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Adaptability. Okay. There was this time where you wanted her to hold your arm, right? And walk you so you could walk her to the car, and she didn't want to do that. Yeah. You expressed to her that you didn't like that. And that made you feel like, of course, when her not being on your arm, how can you truly protect her, right? But also her not doing that says she ain't really feeling me like that.
Yeah.
She don't really like me like that.
And, I get, it was a first date. Maybe she's not at that stage yet.
Okay, so make this make sense to me. It was too early to hold a man's arm, just the arm. But it wasn't too early to go to a 5-star restaurant. But then only got downgraded because you played him for an hour by being late. And then you gave him all this attitude And on top of that, you tried to make him feel bad. But once again, it was too early for the arm, but not too early for the expenses. Yeah. Yeah.
But
I get that too.
Yeah.
Question. Let's just say you're out with him, right? You're on a date with a guy, and some guy comes up, takes your purse. Do you want your date to have your back?
Yeah.
So
He has to protect me.
and even if he's not ready for that yet, right? Because he shouldn't even ask you on a date if he's not going to protect you if something were to happen to you. This is why you should take his arm. You see? So it may feel like I'm giving this guy too much of me, but it's more like I'm being cooperative to the roles that we're playing. He's going to protect me if something happens right now. And so I'm going to stand close to him. This lets the people on the outside looking in know that I'm with this man. He is taking care of me. We're out together, right? So
it's like, it kind of shows that you trust.
absolutely.
I think I felt like
Trust is a big word.
What women get out of a date is a free bodyguard. Because if anything goes wrong with her, he has to really put his life on the line for her. So if a man asks you out on a date, you shouldn't say, I'm not ready to hold your hand. I know that seems like a move forward in a relationship, so to speak, but it's actually just part of a date. Your goal is to give him an example of what it would look like if you were his partner, and his goal is to do the same. So to a man, you not doing those things makes it appear that you're not that interested.
Definitely not ready to be a partner, I guess.
It also kills his ability to be completely masculine for you on that date, because if you won't take his arm, then, you know.
I feel like when you just said like trust is a big word, it is a big word, but maybe the way I saw it is when you wanted to go out with me at all, that was you trusting me.
You're right.
And it did kind of hurt a little bit. I mean, again, I can respect boundaries, but it did still at the same time hurt my feelings if you didn't trust me.
And of course, as men, we're going to try to be receptive to that and understand where you're coming from. But it does kind of limit his ability to do his full, to be his full masculine self in that capacity, right?
Yeah.
The last thing I had here was intellectual stimulation, right? So we like when a woman can respond back and be attentive, right?
Yeah.
Have a good conversation, right? We look for that in women. And I definitely think she appeared to have that. You guys started off on it was a little difficult conversation, but it seems like she understood you. She was receptive to what you were saying. Is that typical for you?
Well, typically a lot of the girls that I met, as I said, like they're literally only trying to date to date or to like have, I don't know, I'm allowed to use the word fuck buddy.
Yeah, sure. We're in hookup culture.
We're in a hookup culture, exactly. And so like they're just looking for that. And so it's like, sometimes it's not necessarily about the values or anything like that. Maybe it's like more small talk, maybe, and maybe sometimes it feels like it's something that'll take more time to get her to open up or something like that. Where at the end of the day, they don't want a second date because we haven't gotten to know each other. And that to me sounds so irritating because you didn't want to get to know, we didn't get to know each other because they wouldn't want to talk.
Absolutely.
So it's like,
I completely understand. So as a man dating with intent, you're ending up in these situations where a lot of times you're in hookup culture. And so you're not getting a second date out of it. Meanwhile, here you are, you have spent your money, you spent time with this person who you're never going to likely see again.
Yeah.
Right? Women oftentimes are looking at dates as what they can get out of them, right? An experience, right? Take me to a nice restaurant. I want the ambiance. I want the treatment, right? And with no intent of doing anything special for the guy after the date. So it's almost like it's almost like she's getting over on him, right? Like she's using him for meals. And that's what men say. I'm not going to keep taking these women out if they don't like me. Don't go out if you don't like me, because then it wouldn't end up where he's on the outside looking into the thing. And what do women say oftentimes when he's upset? I took you to this restaurant, I did that, and now you don't want to get close to me, you're not ready. And she's like, well, you wanted to do it.
This is why we say y'all should go Dutch or go somewhere low-key where not a lot of money is spent. So there's more focus on the people that are together as opposed to the food that you're eating at a 5-star restaurant. I mean, let's be real, okay? You're there to get to know the person, not the food, okay? Going Dutch leaves no expectation on either person's side. You're covered, okay? No one expects anything. Low key, same thing, you know what I'm saying? And if you're with the low key outing, coffee date, whatever it is, it already shows a type of interest, a type of person that you are, because you're willing to start from the bottom and work your way up to where you need to be. When you start at a 5-star restaurant, where else can you go but to a 5-star restaurant? Because there's nothing higher than a 5-star restaurant. So, if that's your expectation when you're going out, then you're automatically putting yourself at a disadvantage already. So ladies, listen, if you can't do a coffee date, if you can't do something low key, or you're not gonna pay for your own food and let him pay for his, and get to know each other and not the food you're eating, then some of y'all don't really need to be dating, period. Bottom line, hypergamy actually got a lot of y'all messed up out here, if you think about it. Because once you start from a certain level, and there's probably a good guy under that level, you're not willing to go backwards because you're gonna consider that settling when it actually isn't.
She will let him spend, and spend, knowing she's not interested in this man. Now, do you feel that that's wrong?
No.
Gotcha, bitch.
You heard her. You heard her. She said no. She was about to say no. Instinctively, she is going to say no. There's nothing wrong with a man pouring money into you and you have no interest in him. Do you think that's wrong? And she was going to say no. Come on now. By instinct alone, she was going to say no because that's what she feels. That's how she felt all this time. All right, that's it. Go ahead. Back to the video.
I don't like users. So, I mean, I do think I think that we're all adults and there's enough of every type out here.
So you really think there's enough of every type out here for everybody to have? So all of you that want the top, 5% of men, you think it's enough for them for everybody out here? Lady, I can't even tell you sit down because you're already sitting down.
To where that's not even necessary. Like there are men that really will just spend money on you.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's a certain type. There's things that go with that, but there are, men that'll just spend money on you and are okay with that. But
what do you take from that type of man, if you don't mind me asking? We call that a simp. And we call that a simp when a man is willing to buy you anything, take you anywhere, and you haven't actually earned that from him with your affection or just being there for him in general. How do you see that?
If women are being really honest, I don't think most women actually respect a man that is like that. And I think there's two different types. There's the ones that will spend money on and they're objectifying the woman and she's just like a toy for them.
Right.
And then there's the ones that really are
trying to buy his way in, just trying his best to earn any type of affection from her.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of those men, there's a lot of those women who allow that to happen, right? So that's why I take what Jay doing here as being something that is great for men everywhere, okay? He knew his worth. You are a beautiful woman, but he said, you know what? I'm just gonna take her home. I don't have to do this. Yeah. Even to the point when you said, I will go eat with you at Cheesecake Factory.
No, she never said that. She said a compromisable place, comparable to the 5-star restaurant. But she's not doing no chain restaurant. That's a no. So she never said she was gonna eat at the Cheesecake Factory. I don't know why she didn't correct it. She should have, but no, she did not say she would eat at the Cheesecake Factory under any circumstance. Sorry.
He saw it as, I would have set aside the date, right? Us being late to that reservation. You're not holding my hand. You're not talking to me in the car. But it seems that you pulling out that camera really, really got to him. Do you mind telling me what you probably took by that? You're just on a date and all of a sudden now she's recording you?
A lot of times, yeah, if I'm the one asking a girl out, that's me already offering to pay for the meal, right? That's me already being okay with that, right? But her recording me did feel like that's where I felt like she was trying to take advantage. She was trying to and maybe you had a different view on it, but it felt like at the time that you were just trying to get food, like a free meal from a fancy restaurant, and then you get content from me too to post on YouTube, Facebook.
And you get your reputation ran through the mud, so it's all be done at your expense, right? Now, that wasn't your take. You have many groups where you encourage women on dating. Y'all talk about dating, and this was something that you said. Look, y'all see a lot of dates go wrong.
Right.
So based on your mindset, you really felt like he was taking you somewhere beneath your value.
Yeah.
And you were saying, I'm going to show the world how you're treating me, right? Can you tell us a bit about that so he knows that, it wasn't to embarrass you, it wasn't to, get content, any of that. It was I felt wronged in that scenario. You mind?
No, I did. I felt like you didn't see my value. And, in that moment, I felt like I needed the support of my viewers in that moment. And not only that, like he said, I discuss relationships and things like that. So I thought that was a good opportunity for me to kind of have that conversation and see, like, what does everybody else think? I wasn't really taking your feelings into consideration. I wasn't trying to be necessarily malicious or anything like that.
I understand.
Good. I'm gonna say this, guys, to end this video, okay? In a world with hookup culture, not having much understanding on relationships based on how we're raised, and then you got social media with the instant gratification and making it so easily to meet people and replace people. Dating it's like a thing that's lost to us. I want to ask these two beautiful people here a question. They had one date that went bad. They have not went on a date since that day. Right? Now, would you guys be open to another date? Knowing what you know now.
I think if we were able to find a way to get our values more in the center, I could see us trying again.
I mean, yeah, I would be willing to go out on a date again.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. Listen, we want to keep up with this first date. Actually, we're going to take care of this first date. It's going to be on us. So we're going to send you somewhere just like they used to do on all those other talk shows. We're going to take care of it. And then we'll reach back to you guys in a couple of weeks and find out how that's going. How does that sound?
Sounds wonderful.
I'd love to see what you guys are up to.
As long as it's not the cheesecake now.
Oh.
She is funny, man.
Yeah.
I like it. Guys, this was an amazing episode of The Truth Factory. Hopefully you guys learned something from that and can apply it to your life. Happy hunting for your next partner. I'll see you guys next time.
Listen, bottom line, we'll end this off like this. Number one, okay, she was out for the free meal. That's how I feel about it. No matter how you slice it, no matter how you dice it, that's how I feel about it. Bottom line. Number two, the content. Yes, she got her content anyway. She does a relationship channel, whatever she has on whatever platform she uses. Bottom line, she got it anyway. And she put it out there and made him look bad. Okay? Dead wrong. I can't see these two in a long-term relationship. I just don't see it. No way, no how. I just don't see them making it. Not even by the height disadvantage, but just by the overall, his look, his demeanor, her attitude, the way she is, the way she was brought up. You just can't get rid of that in a couple of weeks. Like, it just doesn't happen. Okay, so I don't really think she learned her lesson. Maybe it's just me, but that's just how I feel. So, it is what it is. And number three, value. How's he gonna know your value if y'all haven't spent enough time together? Like, value you see over time, not just instantly. Okay, couple weeks and talking. Okay, yeah, she's no. You'll see something, but you're not gonna see the full worth or value of that person. Not yet. So, to me, that means that she didn't really learn her lesson, and she's still in the same mindset. She might have learned a couple things, but overall, she's still got a long way to go. And if he goes back out with her, you might as well just I don't even know. I don't even get the words for it right now. If the internet sees you, females, because it's only females that really see them like this, it's just like, hating them, see you in a negative light, and then you go back out with her, you just look even worse. In my opinion, you just look even worse. So I would just let her go her way, you go your way, and y'all find somebody else new to date. That way, she don't feel like she had to compromise. I'm using the word compromise because honestly, she is kind of settling if she's talking to someone that's shorter than her, and that's not her. That's one of her requirements, that he be taller. But it is what it is. But anyway, that's how I see it. She wanted the female, the content, and as for the value, he couldn't see that. Not at all. And after this conversation that she had with him, I don't even see it. So it is what it is. Let her go. You go your way and call it a night. Because if you went through all that just to circle back around and end up here and do it again, you just made yourself look a damn fool.